Aaron, I know you don't have to have the roster in yet, but do you know what you're going to do?
We've met on it and allowed people to weigh in on it, and so we'll make a decision here shortly. A couple things we're considering, but have not finalized it yet.
What's the biggest debate?
Just last spots, just what makes the most sense.
If there is a Game 3, will it be Cam Schlittler in Game 3?
Yeah.
Who else? Jack, sorry, didn't see you.
Aaron, you've talked a lot about what makes Fried so deceptive, so unpredictable. If you could just describe what you've thought about his season and why you're so confident about giving him the ball tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's had an outstanding season. He's been a great pitcher in this league now for a while. That being said, you're one of the big free agents out there. You come to New York, can be a challenging and daunting thing. He's handled it so well, so seamlessly. Just forget the pitcher for a minute. Just his makeup, the person, the teammate he is, has been more than I could have ever imagined. Honestly, he's been outstanding. Between the lines, he's a great athlete. That's I think his biggest. That's the biggest thing he has going for him. It helps him in his delivery, his stuff. Obviously, the way he controls the running game and moves and bounces off the mound and things like that. It's just, I heard he could really hit. He can really run. Like he's told me, like we get in a pinch, like he's the extra outfielder. Those kind of things, and I believe him. Like he is a really phenomenal athlete, and within that, then you go look at the stuff in the arsenal. It's vast. It's a lot of different weapons, a lot of different ways to beat you. I would say a lot of really plus pitches. It's not like he's got two pitches that are necessarily bread and butter, and then he's got 4 or 5 weapons that he can on any given night get a lot of different hitters out with.
Pete.
Aaron, would you consider catching Ben Rice tomorrow with Fried, or is that something?
Wells will catch tomorrow.
Wells will catch tomorrow, yeah. And would Ben be at first base, or would you have Goldschmidt?
Probably Goldie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris.
Kind of along the same lines, but since the trade deadline, you've used righty-heavy lineups against left-handed pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the expectation for?
No, not as much probably tomorrow, but again, I haven't made any final decisions yet, so I'm kind of working through that still.
Is one of the factors you're weighing that some of these guys, Rice, Grisham, have kind of carried you offensively all year rather than going with a platoon advantage?
Not necessarily. No. Trying to win the game. So, but obviously Max being on the mound, factors in. And so still weighing it. And I'll try and do what's best for us.
Pete and Greg.
Aaron, what's been your impression of Garrett Crochet, considering it's only his second full year as a starter, coming over to a new team, new division, from what you've seen of him this season?
Yeah, an ace. He's been one of the handful of, or even smaller than that, you can probably count on one hand the amount of guys he's in the running with in all of Major League Baseball for the season he's turned in for them. He's clearly become their ace and their horse, and from what I understand, been phenomenal behind the scenes too. And so, they got themselves a good one.
I guess kind of beyond the obvious, what makes him tough on the mound, for when you guys see him?
Well, I think it's big stuff, obviously 100 mile an hour, the cutter, sweeper, change, but then, his size and deception that he creates. It's if you threw a silhouette up there, there's no confusing who it is, But I think with also having great stuff, there's really good deception in there that, allows that stuff to really play, and then the ability to put the ball where he wants. Obviously, he gets a lot of chase too, but the ability to first and foremost be able to be a strike thrower with that stuff, with that deception, puts him in a pretty good place.
Greg.
Is Jazz a full go for tomorrow?
What's that?
Is Jazz a full go for tomorrow?
Yeah, Jazz should be good.
And just how have you seen Judge kind of internalize, kind of get better from the past postseasons that he's had where he hasn't necessarily carried over his regular season results?
I don't. How is he in?
Like how has he responded to it? How has he tried to use it to get better in subsequent postseasons?
Look, Aaron Judge is the greatest player going, and he's unbelievable day to day. Like he's unbelievable at the grind. He's unbelievable at the routine. And he has an obsession too with always trying to get a little bit better wherever he can. And he's worked very hard at that year in and year out to where can I make little improvements in my game. And, that's adjustments at the plate. That's tightening up a routine. That's, learning over the years how to do the daily grind a little bit better. So he's always, looking to how can I get a little bit better. And I think a lot of the great ones do that.
Eric, you had one.
You've managed a bit over the years against Alex Cora. How would you describe him as a manager and preparing to face one of his teams?
A good one. I think he's really good. I think he, he's they play the game within the game really well. I think he's a really good leader. I think his team, kind of embodies who he is, and I think he does a really good job of helping set and define the culture over there. That and obviously, they've gone through a couple of tough years, but he's always been the clear leader of that group, and you started to see it come together a little bit last year, I felt like, and now, obviously this year after, a little bit of an uneven start, they've really become obviously a very good team and one of the best teams in the league here the second half of the year. And but I think a lot of people saw it coming too, contrary to what, I think he's played the little engine that could over there a little bit. I think a lot of people knew the Red Sox were coming this year. So, but I think he's one of the game's really good ones.
Brian, to the left.
You did have Rice catch Fried last time out. So how close a call was that for you to have Wells start in game one?
No, I was catching Wellesley.
Why?
Because I think Wellesley's really good back there, and it's been really good with Fried. Wellesley's actually swinging the bat really well here down the stretch as well. Like, if just because Rice isn't in there doesn't mean he doesn't impact the game in a big way. Like that's a big thing. Like with a lot of these matchups, is like sometimes you're putting them in a better spot to impact the game. Sometimes when they're coming off the bench in a situation, whatever it may be.
Ron.
What does the speed of your current roster give you in terms of what you think about options for late and tight games?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been. I've loved having it. We've tried to get more athletic over the last couple of years, especially as the kind of the rules have made it a little more athlete friendly, which I think is a great thing. And we finally got to a point, I feel like, especially in the second half and at the deadline, where, man, we got 4 or 5 really good athletes capable of changing the game a little bit on the bases, but then a number of other guys that are also really hold their own out there as well. So I feel like it's been something that's been part of us playing really well is the athleticism we have. And, hopefully that shows up here in the postseason for us too.
You think that shows up more in postseason games that are more likely to be tight in late innings?
Not necessarily. I mean, I feel like we've done well on the bases the last couple months and really impacted some games. You never know how a game's going to be impacted in the postseason. It's sometimes one pitch. It's hard to say, but I know we have that more of a weapon in that way. As we enter this postseason.
Gary.
Devin finished this season really strong. Just what did you think of the way he ended things, and how high is your confidence level going into him?
Yeah, I think he's in a really good place. Kind of proud of him. Just, you know, it's not easy, the things he went through this year. You know, you're one of the game's great relievers, and you come over here and you have some hiccups early, and man, he definitely faced his share of adversity, but answered it at every turn too. So, you know, and I feel like, you know, could certainly make the case that here, you know, the final month or month plus of the season, he's been at his very best. So excited where he's at, and obviously he's going to play a big role for us.
Bruce.
Lakers, Celtics, Michigan, Ohio State. How would you define this rivalry, comparing it to all of sports?
Right in that conversation. Yeah, I mean, it's Red Sox, Yankees that get your attention. And I would throw it right in the best rivalries in all of sports, and obviously a lot of history there. So excited to be a part of it, and hopefully we get the better of them this go around.
Chris and Ian.
Why Cam in Game 3 over Will, and what role do you envision Will having?
We'll see. We're still finalizing roster. If he's in play, like he'd be in play, and you never know how a game's going to unfold. And just feel like Cam is, look, feel confident with any of our 5 starters going out there, but I feel like, Cam's the guy to get that ball in Game 3.
And what roles do you envision Caballero and Rosario having, with them being righties and obviously Crochet lefty?
They could be in play tomorrow, and yeah, I mean they're going to have lefties in the pen too, and they've been really good role players for us here, since we got them, and expect them to continue to play an important role.
Aaron, you faced Bregman obviously this time of year before. How much do you think he's brought to their team this year, and how much, especially in October, does you think a guy like that helps them?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a great player with, played in a lot of big games, and, I think, watching from afar, just seems like he's had a really positive impact on their team, their clubhouse, their culture, and, he's going to handle himself at third, and he's going to be a tough out at the plate. I mean, so he's a guy that you really got to execute against, and especially a guy like that really controls the strike zone as well as he does too. So, yeah, he's definitely an impact player for them.
Max.
Aaron, you mentioned their bullpen. Just between the year that Aroldis is having and some of their setup guys, what kind of challenge does that group present for you guys? Yeah, they've done a good job shortening the game. Aroldis has had, obviously, for the career he's had, this might be his best season, or certainly one of them, and that's saying something. So, we've got to see him here a couple times down the stretch. Hopefully that's something that serves us well. But their bullpen has, I feel like, done a really good job of coming together. They got some different looks down there too. They brought up some people that, could play meaningful roles down there as well. So it'll be a challenge.